A news agency is an organization that gathers news reports and sells them to subscribing news organizations, such as newspapers, magazines, and radio and television broadcasters. A news agency may also be referred to as a wire service, newswire, or news service. There are many news agencies around the world, but 4 are global news agencies which have offices in most countries of the world and cover all areas of information: Agence France Presse, Associated Press, Reuters and Agenzia EFE. All 4 began with and continue to operate on a basic philosophy of providing a single objective news feed to all subscribers. They do not provide separate feeds for conservative or liberal newspapers. Fenby explains the philosophy: to achieve such wide acceptability, the agencies avoid overt partiality. Demonstrably correct information is their stock in trade. Traditionally, they report at a reduced level of responsibility, attributing their information to a spokesman, the press, or other sources. They avoid making judgments and steer clear of doubt and ambiguity. Though their founders did not use the word objectivity as the philosophical basis for their enterprises, or failing that, widely acceptable neutrality. History: only a few large newspapers could afford bureaus outside their home city. They relied instead on news agencies, founded around 1859, especially Havas in France and the Associated Press in the United States. Former Havas employees founded Reuters in Britain and Wolf in Germany. Havas is now Agence France Presse. For international news, the agencies pooled their resources, so that Havas, for example, covered the French Empire, South America and the Balkans and shared the news with the other national agencies. In France, the typical contract with Havas provided a provincial newspaper with 1,800 lines of telegraph text daily, for an annual subscription rate of 10,000 francs. Other agencies provided features and fiction for their subscribers. In the 1830s, France had several specialized agencies. Agence Havas was founded in 1835 by a Parisian translator and advertising agent, Charles-Louis Havas, to supply news about France to foreign customers. In the 1840s, Havas gradually incorporated other French agencies into his agency. Agence Havas evolved into Agence France Presse. 2 of his employees, Bernhard Wolff and Paul Julius Reuter, later set up rival news agencies, Wolff's Telegraphisches Bureau in 1849 in Berlin and Reuters in 1851 in London. Guglielmo Stefani founded the Agenzia Stefani, which became the most important press agency in Italy from the mid-19th century to World War II, in Turin in 1853. The development of the telegraph in the 1850s led to the creation of strong national agencies in England, Germany, Austria and the United States. But despite the efforts of governments, through telegraph laws of the in 1878 in France, inspired by the British Telegraph Act of 1869 which paved the way for the nationalisation of telegraph companies and their operations, the cost of telegraph remained high. In the United States, the judgment in Inter-Ocean Publishing v. Associated Press facilitated competition by requiring agencies to accept all newspapers wishing to join. As a result of the increasing newspapers, the Associated Press was now challenged by the creation of United Press Associations in 1907 and International News Service by newspaper publisher William Randolph Hearst in 1909. Driven by the huge U.S. domestic market, boosted by the runaway success of radio, all 3 major agencies required the dismantling of the cartel agencies through the Agreement of August 26, 1927. They were concerned about the success of U.S. agencies from other European countries which sought to create national agencies after the First World War. Reuters had been weakened by war censorship, which promoted the creation of cooperative newspapers in the Commonwealth and national agencies in Asia, 2 of its strong areas. After the Second World War, the movement for the creation of national agencies accelerated. When accessing the independence of former colonies, the national agencies were operated by the state. Reuters became cooperative, managed a breakthrough in finance, and helped to reduce the number of U.S. agencies from 3 to 1, along with the internationalization of the Spanish EFE and the globalization of Agence France Presse. In 1924, Benito Mussolini placed Agenzia Stefani under the direction of Manlio Morgafni, who expanded the agency's reach significantly both within Italy and abroad. Agenzia Stefani was dissolved in 1945, and its technical structure and organization were transferred to the new Agenzia Nazionale Stampa Associata. Wolf's was taken over by the Nazi regime in 1934, and Reuters continues to operate as a major international news agency today. In 1865, Reuters and Wolf signed agreements with Havas's sons, forming a cartel designating exclusive reporting zones for each of their agencies within Europe. Since the 1960s, the major agencies were provided with new opportunities in television and magazine, and news agencies delivered specialized production of images and photos, the demand for which is constantly increasing. In France, for example, they account for over two-thirds of national market. Commercial services. News agencies can be corporations that sell news. Other agencies work cooperatively with large media companies, generating their news centrally and sharing local news stories the major news agencies may choose to pick up and redistribute. Agence France Presse or American Press Agency. Governments may also control news agencies. China, Russia and other countries also have government-funded news agencies which also use information from other agencies as well. Commercial newswire services charge businesses to distribute their news. The major news agencies generally prepare hard news stories and feature articles that can be used by other news organizations with little or no modification, and then sell them to other news organizations. They provide these articles in bulk electronically through wire services. Corporations, individuals, analysts, and intelligence agencies may also subscribe. News sources, collectively, described as alternative media, provide reporting which emphasizes a self-defined non-corporate view as a contrast to the points of view expressed in corporate media and government-generated news releases. Internet-based alternative news agencies form one component of these sources. Associations. There are several different associations of news agencies. EANA is the European Alliance of Press Agencies, while the OANA is an association of news agencies of the Asia-Pacific region. MINDS is a global network of leading news agencies collaborating in new media business. Major news agencies. Commercial Newswire Services, ABN Newswire, African Press Organization, Asia Corporate News Network, Business Wire, Cision Wire, CNW Group, XWire Canada, Globe Newswire, Hugen Group, Japan Corporate News Network, Marketwire, Prairie News Channel, Prairie Newswire, Prairie Web. See also, List of wire services, Alternative News Agency, List of news agencies, Notes. Further reading, Fenby, Jonathan. The International News Services, Gramling, Oliver. AP, The Story of News, Kenny, Peter. News agencies as content providers and purveyors of news: a Medi historiographical study on the development and diversity of wire services online, with a detailed bibliography, pages 171 to 200, Morris, Joel Alex. The Deadline Every Minute, The Story of the United Press, Patterson, Chris A., and Annabelle Sreberny, eds. International News in the 21st Century, Punis, P. Reuters in Australia, The Supply and Exchange of News, 1859 to 1877, Media History 10 No. 2 pp. 67 to 88. Reed, D. The Power of News, The History of Reuters. Shorslows, Richard Allen. The American Wire Services, A Study of Their Development as a Social Institution, Stevens, M.A. History of News. Sterling, C.H. News Agencies. In Encyclopedia of International Media and Communications 3, 235 to 246. Story, Graham. Reuters Century, Zin, X. A Developing Market in News: Xinhua News Agency and Chinese Newspapers, Media, Culture and Society 28 No. 1 pp. 45 to 66.